Now, Nicole Harford is here with me and want to get her perspective on these storms as well. I'm going to toss it over to her for the very latest on the storms. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Chesley. It is going to be a very busy next 24 to maybe even 36, 48 hours here. And this is just the start. We picked up a lot of that heavy rainfall yesterday, and we're still left with, at this point, what is predominantly light rain. This is our current view from the Georgia Tech campus. You can see some of the raindrops on the camera lens there, but overall cloudy and just dreary. Our radar at this point, not incredibly active. Yes, we're seeing a lot of green, but it's predominantly light rainfall that extends throughout portions of North Georgia. You notice, though, that even just on our radar over the course of the last hour, we're starting to see more pockets of the heavier rain, the greens, the yellows that start to show up instead of just that lighter green color. Right now, inside the perimeter, we've got mainly that light, consistent drizzle, but down on the south side into portions of Forest Park, that's where we're starting to see the rain pick up just a little bit. We've also got some pockets of some heavier rainfall up into far northeast Georgia, where those showers are already starting to intensify. Now this is when we're starting to see the impacts from Hurricane Helene. Yesterday, our rainfall was actually associated with a cold front, not directly related to the tropics, but some of those outer rain bands are now starting to feed all of that tropical moisture across the state. Some of that rainfall already a little bit heavier down into portions of South Georgia. We also currently have a tornado warning into South Carolina right now, and that's where we're going to be monitoring the closest for not only that risk for some brief spin-up tornadoes, but also for the threat for some severe storms that could be embedded within these showers and thunderstorms. Our severe risk here, much lower, but still something we'll need to look out for. As we go throughout the next 2 days, you will need to stay weather aware. We have that weather impact alert for all day today as well as all day tomorrow. We'll be talking about it pretty much nonstop for the next couple of days. The rain, which at times will be very heavy, the winds, which will be gusty, as well as that low threat for some strong to severe storms. So what can you do now? While the rainfall remains light, while the winds haven't picked up yet, if you haven't already made those preps to make sure you're ready in case you lose power, now's the time to do so. So you can make sure that any of your electronics that you need, especially a phone or weather radio, are properly charged so that you are able to get the most recent updates on the impacts of Helene, as well as any weather alerts that are issued. You also can get outside. Make sure that anything you have that is unsecured is either secured or brought indoors. If you notice a couple tree limbs that perhaps look like they may not withstand gusty winds, just trim them real quick. The rain right now, still light. It's really your last opportunity to do it in the next couple hours before that rainfall starts to pick up. We've been talking about the impacts, and we're still anticipating big impacts here in North Georgia. For today, heavy rainfall that will eventually lead to flooding. The rainfall itself, especially through the first half of the day today, may end up staying mainly light, but we've already picked up a lot of rainfall, and it's that consistent nature of the rain that will essentially compound and lead to the flooding. We also are anticipating gusty winds. The strongest of the winds will likely be later this evening into the overnight and then early tomorrow morning. That's when we're also monitoring for that potential for some storms as well as a brief spin-up tornado. The heavy rainfall and the flooding will linger into early tomorrow. We'll see our highest wind gusts early Friday morning with gusts of 40 to 60 miles per hour. And in some spots, especially out towards the east of the city, we may see wind gusts closer to 70 miles per hour or even higher. But Friday will be the day when things start to settle down. The rainfall will clear. The winds will gradually become less breezy. In anticipation of additional heavy rainfall, all of North Georgia is under that flood watch throughout the day today and tomorrow. So that flood watch just means that the heavy rainfall could lead to flooding. The most important thing to take away from this flood watch is that if you see standing water on the roads, do not try to drive through it. Obey any barricades or signs that you may see telling you not to proceed. And if you don't have to be on the roads the next couple of days, my advice would just be to stay off them. Hunker down at home, don't drive throughout, especially while it's dark outside tonight and into tomorrow morning. Our flood watch will remain in in effect. And in addition to those flood-prone areas around streams, creeks, the typical spots where we typically see the water pool, we could see flooding elsewhere as well. We also have tropical storm warnings that extend throughout the state as well as into Florida, and then hurricane warnings where the center of circulation is expected. Those tropical storm warnings extend up into North Georgia, so all of Metro Atlanta, all of North Georgia included in that tropical storm warning. That hurricane warning, where hurricane force winds are expected, currently goes up into Upson County and the Macon area, but does not continue up towards the north into the Atlanta metro. I want to caution you, though, we'll see wind gusts that are strong tropical storm strength, bordering on even hurricane strength. The difference will be very minimal here. It will still lead to a number of downed trees as well as downed power lines because of the gusty winds. It could also lead to a little bit of perhaps damage to siding, roofs. If you have your car outdoors and you have the option to bring it inside, I would certainly recommend it at this point. So here's Hurricane Helene right now. This has been strengthening pretty slowly throughout the last 24 hours. It became a hurricane yesterday and remains a Category 1 hurricane as it moves through the open water of the Gulf of Mexico. Right now, the water in the Gulf of Mexico is exceptionally warm, which will lead to some rapid intensification as it continues up towards the northeast. It has shifted that turn it started to make up towards the northeast. It was previously moving off towards the northwest and has started to make an easterly turn towards the state of Florida. It's also picking up its speed, so it's moving at about 12 miles per hour. I want to note that the sustained winds are 90 miles per hour, but we do have wind gusts that are much stronger. This is our most recent forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. We'll actually have a new one coming in shortly. They're releasing another one at 8 o'clock this morning, so in just about a half hour. Right now, the current forecast is for it to become a major Category 3 hurricane as it moves through the Gulf of Mexico. This could border on a strong Category 3, maybe even a Category 4. That official forecast from the National Hurricane Center has gone back and forth a little bit, calling for either a Category 3 or a Category 4 hurricane. And again, I want to stress that that difference between Category 3 and Category 4 is not very much. Either way, there will be devastating flooding, storm surge, as well as wind damage along the Big Bend of Florida where this makes landfall. While this is forecast to weaken as it moves into the state of Georgia, it may manage to maintain Category 1 hurricane strength not only into South Georgia but up into portions of the state as well, so producing very gusty winds. The center of circulation looks like it may end up coming up off towards the east of the Atlanta metro area. That's important because typically with these landfalling tropical systems, the strongest winds, the heaviest rainfall, and the tornado risk are usually higher on the eastern side of the center of circulation. So that would put us on the slightly quieter but still very windy and rainy side of this center of circulation. Our spaghetti models, you can see them here, pretty good consensus with that easterly track of the center of circulation, but any small shift could have big impacts to our forecast, and we are still anticipating, again, the flooding rains as well as the gusty winds. We'll be watching this really closely. This is a little different from a lot of the tropical systems we've seen because typically they get pushed up the east coast. But in this scenario, I mentioned that cold front that brought us the rainfall yesterday. That's an area of low pressure that will actually suck up all the remnants of Helene and essentially bring it off towards the west before ejecting it off towards the northeast. Now, for us, the biggest impacts will end up being tonight and into tomorrow morning. That's when we have the highest flood risk with a moderate to high risk for some excessive rainfall that could lead to flooding. We also have a low end risk for some severe weather as well. We're talking rainfall totals on top of what we've already picked up of about 4 to 6 inches. We'll have more on your hour by hour forecast tracking Hurricane Helene coming up.